All right, what is up, you guys, and welcome to my Under the Tree broadcast episode. Episode 3, 4, one of those. All right, I know I've been slacking on giving y'all more of this kind of content, so I'm going to do my very best to push out more of this content, not only for you guys but also for myself, because doing this is helping me as well with my own life and certain things. So today in this episode, I would like to get into spirituality and religion, and kind of basically how I came into spirituality and how why I gave up the church. So let's get into this video. Okay, so let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the narrative of the church, right? Growing up, I used to go to church all the time. Don't get me wrong, I used to love going to church. Like, my granny used to take me to church all the time. Like, she was a Baptist though. What is it? Right, Baptist? She was a Baptist, yes. So my granny used to take us to church all the time. But at that time, I didn't really understand the difference between a Baptist, a Christian, like the people of Christ, like Methodist and stuff like that. That threw me off, because I literally asked, who was it I asked? I asked somebody what's the difference between a Methodist, Baptist church and things like that, like, or like just the church names, and what deciphers the difference. There's no difference. They just want to be the main people. I realized, like, I forgot what she said, but when she said what she said, it made me realize, like, oh, that was just the churches fighting to be like the main, like, religion, or like the main church, or the main, like, just the main. And I've been realizing that a lot lately, especially when it comes to religion. A lot of people are just fighting to be the original, especially over here in America. Everybody want to be like, we the ones. But are you the ones? Because I don't feel that way. But anyways, so yeah, I always grew up in church. So it was always something like I love to do. You know, it was so much things to do as a kid. They had a whole basketball court in the church. Like, who wouldn't love the church? Upstairs, downstairs. Like, come on. If you see what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. You know. So yeah. But over time, I stopped, like, not being as close with my granny, but over time, I was not able to go over there with her as much. And during that time, that's like, after a while, that's because basically we stopped staying closer to my granny. We stayed right across the hall from my granny, and that was for the fun days. So yeah. So boom, my mom or whatever, she got married, you know, to my stepdad or whatever. And when that happened, that's when they got together, that's when we started really just going to the other church. We had already been to like a few churches before that. So the church we went to was called Abundant Life. I'm going to tell y'all the church that we went to. We went to Abundant Life. We went to a few churches. But I never had like an issue with church in itself. I think it was just the people and the way they represented the church. Like, you got so many people. I never understood, like, how they were changing, how you're supposed to change people. And, you know, you don't allow certain type of people in the church, right? You have a problem with gay people, but you don't want gay people in the church. How you gonna say gay people if you ain't gonna bring them in your church, though? But you gonna complain about their life, but you're not gonna let them in your church. Not saying Abundant Life did that, because that was not the case for them. I'm just saying, in general, that's what I saw with a lot of churches. Speaking on general terms, Abundant Life was just the first church that we actually just went to for a long time. But yeah, it was just like stuff like that just never made sense to me. And then, like, I always notice, like, right, people preach the Bible, even to this day, most people only give out certain text clues. Everybody is not representing the Bible in a way of a healthy manner. Some people are just doing the Bible so they can feel like they have power over people, and you could just, they can just do what they want. Because I did have that also. I have a problem with that because I went to church, and we always had to give the pastor stuff. For her birthday, we was giving her money. We was paying her bills. Like, the whole church, mind you, it was the whole church, not just us. But it was like the fact that, like, I understand, right? This the pastor, right? But we still behind on church bills. Because we was barely catching up with the tithes. So it's like, we barely catching up with the tithes. And that made us move from a lot of different churches because we had to be able to keep that up. You can't keep that up. You're moving constantly. So with that church, we ended up moving 3 times. The one I'm mentioning now, this is specific now. Okay? But anyways, so yeah, that happened. We ended up moving 3 times. We ended up moving churches to different locations. 3 different church locations. Because we weren't able to keep up the building or whatever. But we were always giving money to the pastor. So it's like, we giving all this money to the pastor, but you're not putting any of that money into the church. But we paying her bills. We buying her food. You know what I'm saying? We buying her gifts for her birthday. You know what I'm saying? It's like we had to, like, they had this thing where it's like, oh, you have to make sure you can pay, for pastor's anniversary, this and this and that. It was just like stuff like that. It never made sense to me, right? But churches are supposed to be the place that, at least I feel like, people are supposed to just be able to come and be themselves. Like, one thing I've learned from studying about, like, different places, historical places, just like ancient places, right? When you look at those temples and those places, people are not sitting in there waiting on people to come into the church. The church is there waiting on people to come in. Not the church, sorry, because it's not a church, it's a temple. The temple is there for the people. You get what I'm saying? Not to be looked over as, oh, this is my church. No, it's God's church. It's God's temple. You get what I mean? Even though the temple is really the body. Because when I found that out, that's another reason, but I will get back into that. I'm trying not to make this video too long because I'm this already. We'll have to get 15 and cut it in, okay? But yeah, like those temples and things like that, people go in there able to pray without feeling judged. They're able to go pray without having people come in their face like, why you got that on? Or why you doing, like, they don't have to worry about that. And I feel like, honestly, over here in America, we need places like those because we don't have any sanctuaries. We don't got nothing. We don't got nothing. Hey, we don't got nothing. We don't got nothing. But we do need something. We do need something. So that was another part of the reason I did not want to go to the church. And also one of the reasons I moved over to spirituality, because I feel like actually, you know what? I'm just waiting on that because I need to get into this next part. So another reason I left the church is because, right, for me personally as a kid, we used to have like ceremonies where like we would go and preach, right? Or we would go and, give a word. And one thing I didn't like is like, right, if I give a word, somebody else give a word, it was like, they'd be like, oh, it's good. That was really good, right? But they're like, but I don't know about this and this and that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's okay for people to look at the Bible and understand it in a way that they are able to understand it. Like, not saying like take it and do what you want to do with it like the church is already doing. Not that kind of understanding, but just understanding the Bible and how they are able to put that in their day-to-day lives and use that for themselves in a healthy manner. Okay? A healthy manner. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so another reason why I left the church as well, I didn't want to go back to church, is because my family. So my stepdad was like the deacon at Abundant Life. He was the deacon at Abundant Life, and he had this whole thing where he wanted to be a preacher. He wanted to be a preacher real bad. But the thing is, you act one way at church. Like, it's like putting on the front. Like, we had to be this fake ass family in front of everybody. Like, we was just happy knowing we was going through a whole lot of shit at home. But then when we come to church, we had to be like, Nothing's wrong. Stand up straight. Don't act like that. Don't say that. Don't do this. Like, imagine that. Like, you just live in a facade at that point, right? So for me personally, that was just a hell no. Like, I'm not finna go to church and be fake. Like, if church is where I'm supposed to be able to be myself, I'm not finna go to church and be fake. But you know, people only do that because they want to keep up the facade that they are doing what they're supposed to do, but in reality, they're not. But that's what people do. That's what people in the church do. They act like they're this, they act like they're that, so they can have a certain particular status and say, oh, what they say, they call them evangelist or what is it? They're like doctors and things like that. It's people getting these kinds of titles and don't know what to do with them. But then you have people who don't have those titles. I'm not gonna say they don't have those titles, but they do. Probably just given to them not by man. You know what I mean? So for me, I feel like it's certain people who do have those titles but aren't getting the respect because they don't have like a physical title. And people play on those kinds of people more than they play on people with the actual degree. And this is where we also need to talk about how people need to talk about walking by faith and not by sight. So many times people put that in the Bible. They don't put it in the Bible, but they talked about it in the Bible. Walk by faith, not by sight. But yeah, people do that often. These churches you go to, you don't go to because of faith. You go to because you can see it. Because if you had known that you didn't need the church and that the faith was honestly everything that you needed was already within you, you would have never went to the church in the first place. But you went to the church. I'm not saying all y'all. I'm just speaking, this is just how I talk. But you went to the church because you can see it. You can feel it. You can touch it, smell it, taste it, whatever, right? So it gives you a sense of comfort in saying, oh, God is real. You know what I mean? Like, I come to church every Sunday. I got this. I go to church. We do this. We do that. I'm giving myself to God. But are you really giving yourself to God? Or are you giving yourself to the church? And I feel like that's where people don't realize, like, it's a difference between giving yourself to God and giving yourself to the church. Because just like the church, it's just like these jobs. They will run you high and dry. They will run your ass up until you have nothing left. I used to dance all the time. I'm not gonna lie, I used to hate it. I'm just saying it like that. I don't like saying the word hate because it's a strong word, but I used to hate it. Not the dancing part, but the fact that I used to have to go to church every night. Like, not just on Sundays, sometimes Mondays, sometimes Tuesdays, sometimes Wednesdays. Like, I had to practice. Not only did I have to practice, I had to go dance at the conferences. And then sometimes the conferences would be out of town. You get what I mean? And it's like, and then I still had school because during this time I was still in school, in high school. And I had to dance a lot. And during that, it just made me realize, like, it's just too much. You know, it's just too much. Like, I'm not saying, like, I have to be gaining something in the process of that. No, because I was doing it obviously for a reason, because it was something that I loved, and plus it was something that connected me with the spirit. You get what I mean? Because every time I danced, I always felt connected. So for me, that was just my thing. But it's just the fact of consistently going. This church is always needing you, right? You giving all this to the church, and the church is giving you nothing. What do you do with that? You're not getting a good word. You're not getting no help. You're not getting no good advice. You're not getting shit. And then people go to these kinds of churches. Not because, like I said, not because it is honestly just bringing them closer to God, but because it brings them comfort as if they are worshiping God. Comfort. Make sure y'all listen to that word. Comfort. It's the comfortability in it, but you need to walk by faith, not by sight. Did you see Jesus going to a temple? No, I'm sorry, he went to temples, but I'm saying churches. I'm getting them confused. Did you see Jesus going to a church? No, he was not in the churches all day, every day. He was out there with the people. He was out there living his life and also showing people how to live theirs along his own journey of life. Not sitting in the church every day praying, every 30 minutes saying, thank you. Like, And even in that, honestly, I be feeling like it's a little demon possession in some of that stuff they be doing. I don't, after a while, when I honestly started to learn and understand what energy is, I didn't even want nobody touching my head. Don't touch my head. Don't put your hands on me. Don't lay your hands on me if I ain't asked you to. I don't want that. Because that shit's real. And then people start putting their shit on you. And how do you know if they a real prophet? A lot of people don't know a real prophet from a fake prophet because there's so many fakes. So how do you decipher the real from the fake? Well, that is something up to you to use and you to ask the Lord about, because that's the only way you're going to be able to learn. I cannot tell you. You have to learn on your own. But discernment is real. So y'all need to learn to use it. But you can't use that if you ain't getting connected. So therefore, I'm going to tell you guys why I decided to switch over to spirituality in another video. But I'm going to end this video because it's already at 16 minutes. But I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And I hope that this was able to help bring some type of insight to you. Because like I said, I don't just do these videos for you. I do these for myself as well. Because doing these videos help me release old things that sometimes I feel like I hold on to or I just don't talk about enough. But a lot of these situations I was able to overcome, and that's one of the, honestly, the other main reasons that I want to share with them, because I feel like I'm being guided to share these experiences because there's so many people going through these same experiences right now, probably who don't know because you're just not aware of it. And it's really about your awareness. Once you bring out your awareness and acceptance, you'll be able to see things from a better point of view. But this is the end of this Under the Tree broadcast with me, D. I gotta come up with a little jingle, for this. But I hope y'all enjoy this video, and lots of love, lots of healing, lots of light. So you guys way, and I hope y'all have a blessed day. Ashe.